I think everything went very well. I mean, it was very informative. Different people talked about different issues concerning to this event, about my manipulation, about how people can be recruited, about freedom of choice. And as I was looking to the audience, I could see that they are listening with interest. So I can say that generally it was a very successful meeting.
My name is Steve Hassan, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor and author of Combating Cult Mind Control and Freedom of Mind. And I am very happy to be here to support the Justice for Jeremiah campaign. I'm really delighted to share the speaking with my fellow former members like Yves Messer and Masoud Banisadr and Alexandra Stein. It's a pleasure to hear Dr. Feldman and as well. I look forward to the afternoon. I just think this issue is so large, and the tragedy that happened to Jeremiah is just a window into a much larger social problem that needs to be addressed, and that I've been working on since I left the cult in 1976 with the help of my family. And I'm hoping that more people will pay attention, learn, bring in speakers. We can develop a complex system approach to helping address undue influence. Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna start now. Well, I think it's, on the whole, it's very. I'm very happy with the conference. It's a good time to meet up and discuss about things which were analyzed and discussed yesterday at the inquest regarding the death of Jeremiah Duggan. And here we are more free to speak about the experience of cults and how things can happen with extremist groups. And a lot of people came, and everybody's happy to learn how could this work, how you can turn somebody who is very nice into possibly a terrorist or being killed by terrorists. So these are very serious issues which were investigated yesterday at the inquest, but we hope we have given more light about how this process could work. It could reach anyone. Everyone could be a victim. I was a victim myself, so, and many who were speaking at the conference. So I hope it's helping to prevent and inform better about this phenomenon called cults and so-called brainwashing, mind control. That's it. Thank you.
I'm Alexandra Stein, and I'm here today at this really important event. It's important because, first of all, we're remembering this terrible tragedy that happened, but we're also trying to learn universal lessons from it. And I think we have a really great selection of people here from all different walks of life who all have some connection to this problem of cultic recruitment and extremism. And I just think we need a lot more of these kinds of events. But I think people here are interested, they've got a lot to contribute, and I'm looking forward to going and talking to many of them and finding out what their experiences and their suggestions for how we move forward are.
My name is Jeremiah Duggan, and I'm very pleased that the Institute of Race Relations has set up this seminar, helped us organize it, because the things that people have discussed this morning, first of all starting with how extremist, dangerous groups deceive young people and almost trick them into joining for idealistic reasons, whereas in truth they represent something quite different to what they really would have wanted to follow. And then we had other speakers that talked about the methods of cults, and they really do show you the issues that we need to appreciate to prevent young people falling into following dangerous groups. And I think I'm very pleased that these speakers have come and have spoken about these issues, because what we're going to look at as well is how all these things worked together, and I believe led my own son to his death. I don't know if that's in a good talk.
Hi, I'm Hugo Duggan, father of Jeremiah, and I'm very satisfied the way the conference has gone this morning.
we heard statements from eminent experts in the field of studying cults, ex-members of cults, and it all has made no doubt in my mind that the perpetrators of Jeremiah's death were members of the Larouche organization, and whether they will ever be brought to justice will now go back to the German authorities. There were a right-wing organization was named in the inquest verdict yesterday, but I do not expect anything further to happen in this country. But we are, of course, grateful to for British justice and for having gone into it, and where we learned so much more about the background of the organisations, both at the coroner's inquest and mostly this morning by these experts. So I'm very satisfied with how it has gone so far today. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Esther, Gerry's sister. Today at the conference we've heard from talks, and I hope it's the first of many talks from experts and ex-members of cults, because it's really about educating young people and giving them the knowledge that there are dangerous organisations out there, groups that you wouldn't know are dangerous. My brother was a very idealistic person, and actually what he wanted was peace and love, and very much anti any racism or anything like that. And they preyed on that, and what he actually joined was a dangerous organisation which had extreme ideas. And unfortunately these groups are there, and there is about educating our colleges and universities. These people are out there in our universities trying to sign people up to these groups. Now, new legislation is coming in, but there's a long way to go, as we learnt today at the conference. I know that legislation is coming in, and I think we really need to lobby the politicians more and try and actually have a system where we have universities during their fresher week actually educating young people to say that there are these dangerous groups, these are the recruitment methods that they use. This is what you need to be aware of, and just stop and think, is this a cult? And maybe have slogans or saying, think, stop, is this a cult? What are they doing? But we have to actually have these experts and people that know about the recruitment methods, ex-members coming to talk to university students, and also sixth form colleges. Young people in sixth form colleges, they're also very vulnerable to this. Schools as well, and we need to do this, as we've heard from teachers, headmasters, headmistresses, governors, social workers, police, doctors, our whole community, educating young people and just being aware, and maybe having call centres, phone numbers that people can ring. I met this organisation, I was just doing yoga. Is it yoga? Is it something else, for example? Because we've heard today that there are yoga cults, there's religious cults, there's all sorts of fronts that are saying there's something else, but really, if you look at it, you know, there's something much more extreme. And you know, I hope that this is a legacy for my brother, that you know, we try and you know, help young people, idealistic people that are maybe very creative, very poetical, love music, love theatre, have a lot of love to give and just want to help the world. Try and prevent those young people, those idealistic people, from joining these dangerous groups. Thank you.
My name's Gerry Gable. I'm the editor, publisher of Searchlight magazine, Britain's longest running anti-fascist magazine. We've been publishing for 51 years. We investigate Nazis not only in this country but internationally, and during that time we frequently come across the Larouche movement, and where we could try to expose them and damage them, not only here but in the States and in Scandinavia and in Germany. They're a very sinister organisation. Although Larouche has been imprisoned for a massive fraud on his own members, stealing their money they donated, he's Teflon Larouche, untouchable as far as governments appear to go. And I've seen this with my own eyes at the American Embassy in London in the very early 80s, where I attended an international policing evening put on by the American Embassy and Interpol. And at that meeting, there were several members of Larouche's journalistic staff from their International Intelligence Review, their magazine, very glossy, published in several languages. And it was very interesting because one of the guests from Interpol had been a wartime collaborationist in Vichy, France. So we can see the kind of people. I've got absolutely no doubt Jeremiah was killed because he was a right decent young man in the wrong place. And anti-war, wanted to oppose the war, is suckered in, goes to this conference, and then finds he's in a room full of anti-Semitic Nazis. And instead of not saying anything, I believe he spoke out, and that's why he ended up dead. I met Erica very soon after he was killed, and she may recall what I said to her. I said we would do, Searchlight would do everything we could to find people who'd been in the movement in Germany who had left, and I think some of them may be here today, to come forward and talk to her and her lawyers, that she should be careful about people coming and posing that they were anti-Larouche and were really spying for Larouche. But I said to her, at the end of the day, and she'd have to prepare herself for this, and you know, she's been terrific all these years, not letting go. But I said to Wanda, I said, you might find at the end of the day, you will not get justice for Jeremiah because Larouche is so close and tied in with international intelligence agencies, they will protect him.
My name is Professor Matthew Feldman. I'm from Teesside University, and there, as a historian, I co-direct the Center for Fascist, Anti-fascist, and Post-fascist Studies. We're here to look at some of those post-fascist manifestations with a key case study being Lyndon LaRouche, who's run a pretty notorious far-right organization in the United States with branches in Australia, Europe, elsewhere, really over a series of decades. And he's turned into something that can be called, I think, with good justification, a political cult. And it's that which we're looking at in terms of, on the one hand, some of the political dynamics in the context of right-wing extremism, and on the other, in other panels, looking at the psychological context of manipulation and thought control. And we're looking at the way in which some of those, as they apply to the LaRouche organization, but even more widely, can be seen as techniques for undue influence. And I think that this is a landmark event that brings together not just people from different disciplines, historians, political scientists, but also psychologists and sociologists, experts, as it were, in the morning, but also linking that to people's real experiences on the ground. And at the forefront of what's been going on this week, and in particular today, is the Justice for Jeremiah campaign. And we only found yesterday that his death was not ruled a suicide, which raises, in an even more urgent way, questions about right-wing extremism, about control, and about the kinds of pressures that are put on someone like that in a place like Wiesbaden, as we horrifically learned the tragic consequences of the 27th of March 2003, where under still unexplained circumstance, Jeremiah was found dead by a roadside.
My name is Chip Burley, and I am an investigative journalist turned scholar that writes about different kinds of totalitarian groups, whether they're large movements or political cults, like the cult of Lyndon Larouche. And today we've been learning from a wide variety of experts about how many similar fields of research overlap with ideas about how this works, but it all comes down to abusive leaders who lie and have narcissistic personalities and have no problem with pressuring young people into a conforming kind of mindset in which they are pulled away from their family and their belief structures and basically spend their lives keeping these despicable leaders in leadership positions surrounded by sycophants and raising money to keep them in their, good meals and nice clothes. It's really quite awful, and too many people ignore that these cults exist all over the world, and just because they only harm the families from which their children are grabbed is not a good excuse for not dealing with them, because for the families themselves, as for the individuals in these cults, it's a devastating outcome, and it's not one that should be ignored by government or civil liberties groups.
I'm Liz Fakiti, and I'm the director of the Institute of Race Relations, and I helped Erica and Hugo Duggan and the Justice for the Jeremiah campaign put this seminar on. So far I think it's gone really, really well. We've got a full venue, a very lively audience asking really, really pertinent questions, and all the contributions so far have been really challenging.